So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little exercise to help you get some clarity about what you believe. There is no right or wrong answer. It's all only about, obviously, out of my opinion, but it's about what you believe. So this is going to, I want everybody to actually do this exercise with me. This is one of the coaching exercises. Once you sign your clients up, it's called Choosing Your Investment Philosophy. You usually do it in the first year with your clients. There's two parts of the this exercise actually. There's the investor's dilemma, which I already covered with you, so we'll be able to shortcut this one, which is the investor's dilemma I did in Saving the Investor, Saving the World. There's three principles to having a long-term investment philosophy. There's several parts. One is your true purpose for money. That's an exercise that I coach you to do in year 2, where you actually work with your clients to help them develop their own true purpose for money. So that's also one of the coaching segments. We don't have time to do that in the class today, but we will do it in year 2. The second part of your investment philosophy is your market belief system, what you believe about the market to be true. Most people go straight to their investment strategy, but that's really backwards. Until you really know what your market belief system and what money is ultimately good for, it's really stupid to develop your investment strategy. So what we're going to do is actually develop your strategy before we leave here today. We're probably in the next 20 minutes. So why is this important? Why are beliefs important? Well, a belief is a mindset in which trust or confidence is placed. A market is the buying and selling of trades or goods and services. So a belief system about the markets is crucial for investor success. Let me show you how critically important it is to have a belief about things. How many of you know cognitively and it's a good thing to eat right and work out? Raise your hand. Everybody. That's knowledge. Okay? But how many of you might have some of these beliefs that also go along with that statistical knowledge? Sometimes, maybe you had a really hard day, and you might tell yourself the belief that, I don't have enough time to work out today. Anybody have that? Ever tell yourself that?
Every day.
Or the belief that, I've been working out real hard today. I taught this class all day. I know I shouldn't eat right, but I'm eating the whole pizza tonight when I get home. Anybody ever do that deal? Or that M&Ms, or that cake, or that whatever? I'm going to reward myself. I've been working really hard.
My hair didn't come out right.
So the belief is, I'm too tired, I deserve it, whatever. Okay? So what happens is that belief will override the cognitive knowledge that you have about an area. So what we want to do is not just have a cognitive knowledge, but actually develop at a deep intuitive sense what you really believe about the market. There's two things that you can believe about the market. You can believe that markets work, that market hypothesis sees that markets are random and unpredictable. Amazingly, the randomness of the market actually indicates that the prices quickly and accurately reflect information. This is random price movement. The other is that there is predictable price movement. That somebody knows, because markets fail, what the price movements are going to be in advance for the market as a whole, or for individual sectors, or for individual stocks. These two views about the world are not meshable. Sometimes they say, well, I think that markets are efficient 90% of the time, but they fail 10% of the time. Well, if they fail 10% of the time, then you should be smart enough to take advantage of that and make all kinds of returns unrelated to risk. So either they fail or they work. Okay, so what does it mean? What's the story? What's the history? Well, we talked about the history a little bit more. But what I'm going to do is, how many of you would agree that markets change based on news? What's the root word of news? New. So as new data. Is there any person on the face of the planet that knows what the new data is coming out in advance? No. Now there might be an entity, this is an interesting, for those of you that are interested in theology, there may be an entity in the universe that would know the new news coming out. Right? Who would that be? God. Okay, the all-knowing, all-one being. Okay, so theoretically there might be somebody, but that would be God. Now, people will like to say there's two things that go into the price movements. There's what I like to call rational movers and irrational movers. What are the rational movers? Well, things like statistics, data, profits, things that seem like facts. Okay, but notice that these are only theoretically knowable because there aren't many. Who was the best expert on a company? If you said this person is the expert on IBM, who would it be? Who has the most knowledge? Yeah, who has the most knowledge about IBM?
CFO.
The CEO, CFO. What degree of confidence do you think that CEO really has that the balance sheet and information they're getting about their company is accurate? Have you ever sat down with your accountant to figure out what your profits and losses and expenses and balance sheet is? And you have a much simpler business model than IBM. So theoretically this information is knowable, but there's a lot of fuzziness around this information. Ask WorldCom, ask Global Crossing about the fuzziness in the data. So this data is theoretically knowable, but really no one really knows this data. Things like consumer price indexes. We don't even know how many people are even in the United States. We don't even know it from a census, well, how many people are even here. Our data is crap. We don't know really anything about the market or the world with any high degree of certainty. Okay, so that's the rational data. Now, people will say, we also have irrational data. What is that? Fear, greed, love, hate, passion, ego. But we also have people's plans. This is theoretically rational, but also unknowable. So whether or not I want to send my kid to college, I'm going to need my money, or whether or not I want to open a business, all that, those are my individual plans. Whether a consumer is going to buy, stuff over here at Walmart and buy shampoo. It's because it's not just the buyer and the seller of the stock that determine the value, is it? It's the consumers and the people that are going to buy and sell stuff around the world for these different products. So let me ask you a question. Is there any period of time where we are going to know in advance how the rational data is going to change? No. Is there any period of time where, by the way, this irrational stuff is unknowable? Even theoretically, it is unknowable. Because you would have to know the hearts and minds of 7 billion people on the planet. Is there a point in time that this is ever predictable? No. Now, these affect the market as a whole. Do they also affect the stock prices of individual stocks? Sure. Yes. So I think one of the greatest amounts of hubris ever displayed on the planet is people who think they really know what the hell's going to happen next. Can you imagine the ego of someone who actually thinks that they know where stock prices are going? You would have to know the mind of God.
Yeah.
Talk about playing God. If you believe this model, then you believe that prices are random. If you believe the other model, you believe that prices are predictable. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Take your workbook, Choosing Your Investment Philosophy, and let's see, I think we're page 11. You don't have to show anybody. And what I want you to do is to make a choice. Put an X by either markets work or markets fail. Not that markets are perfect, but they're the best determinant of price. Everybody got that? Everybody got to do it now. Dave, you got one? Jimmy? You good? All right. Matt? Everybody got it right down. You can hide it. Come on, Jimmy. Get your pen in here. Let's go. Come on. Come on, Bill. You helping? Okay. Everybody helping? Okay. You good? Make a choice. Choose. Gotta choose. Okay. Now, once you've chosen what you believe about the world, that dictates your investment strategy, not the other way around. How many of you might be struggling because in the past you were doing this? And you're struggling at getting your mind over there to the other side. It's like this conflict. Like, I believe this, but I'm still struggling to hold on to this. Anybody facing that at all? It's like, God, I want to go over there, but can I really do it? And what that is wanting to hold on to this idea that there's a free lunch. That somebody is going to be able to pick the best stocks in advance or get in and out of the market in advance without any risk. Now, it's a nice fantasy, fun thing to believe, but is it in alignment with what you believe about the world? Asset class, if you believe this, that markets work, then you want to focus on asset class investment. You want to own asset classes, not managers. If you believe this, you want to continue speculating with money. Yeah?
Could we believe in both in that, I mean, I would think with secure, necessary, required funds that I would want to believe in the structured funds. But with money that isn't necessarily counted on or I can just speculate with, I mean, I can certainly play over here as well, right?
Yeah. Yes and no. What I mean by that is theoretically that's possible, but people's brains don't compartmentalize it very well.
Okay.
So what happens is they'll say is, well, what they really haven't done is made a decision. They haven't really, what they really are is over here holding on to the hopes that, let's say, I'm going to prudently invest 70% of my money, and then I'm going to gamble with 30% of my money over here. But what happens if one of the things in their 30% gets 25%?
Everything's supported.
Whoop! I'm just kidding. I'm all over here. Either you can be prudent or you can gamble. You can't do it at the same time. If you want to speculate and gamble, there's a place you can go and have a lot more fun than doing it with your portfolio. That's Vegas. I'm not trying to make a moral decision on whether speculating and gambling is bad, but if that's money that you need for your true purpose for money, for your lifelong goals, then when would you want to speculate with it?
Never.
Wouldn't. So as an advisor and as a coach, this is a critical decision for you to make. Is what you believe. Because if you believe a little bit of this, then that means when the dark times come and the gold's up 30% and the market's down 20% and your client comes in with an ultimatum, move me to gold and move me to this and move me to that, then you do it. You do it.
FundQuest actually has funds called active, passive.
I've seen that. Talk about it.
I see more.
You know, the other problem is it's morally dubious. Let's say that I'm a surgeon, a cancer specialist. I'm a cancer specialist, and I tell my client, "Oh, you gotta stop smoking. This shit's gonna kill you." And they go, "Yeah, I know I should." And then they walk out, and in the lobby there's a cigarette machine because they can make money off of it because they know all their patients are addicted. Have you ever been to CVS pharmacy? Yeah, I love it. In the back, you go get your prescriptions to get cured, and in the front, you go and they sell you cigarettes to kill you. I can't. What is that? You trying to help me? You trying to kill me? Which
Market
one?
manipulation.
I got one real quick. And you know, we talk about taxes. And in society, we grew up and they teach us not to drink, smoke, and gamble. Then when the politicians need money, they say, let's raise taxes on the cigarettes, let's open a casino and have a lottery so we can fund everything.
Yeah.
That's a contradiction.
Yes, it is. Now, some people are comfortable with moral ambiguity.
Preying on
I'm not. Not when it comes to my livelihood and what I have to make a decision. Am I going to be part of this group or am I going to be part of this group? If you believe markets work, then here's what you want to do. You want to capture market rates of returns in the asset categories that you invest in. You want to use asset allocation because you recognize that it's the most important determinant. 100% of the positive return comes from asset allocation. You want to have lifelong investing because you're going to build a portfolio that lasts not just 5 or 10, but 30, 40 years until I can't thaw the mirror. If you believe markets fail, then you want to do stock selection, you want to do track record investing, and you want to do market timing. Okay. Everybody good? Everybody got a choice? Okay. Now, we're going to play a fun little game. I want to have you put a check mark about where you are right now. So for example, if you believe after our time together that markets work, kind of like when I had my epiphany moment, my flashpoint with Rex Sinquefield in San Francisco, if you believe that markets work, but you're still using speculative forms of investing, put a check mark right here. You should probably see a lot of people writing right now. If you believe that markets work, but you still have active stock, picking mutual funds, and all these different things, because that's what you sold your clients over the last 15 years, then put a check mark right here. If you believe that markets work, now the result of that, and that's why I suspect there's some anxiety and confusion going on, if you believe that markets work and set prices accurately, then attempting to pick stocks, time the market, or use track record investing doesn't make any sense. You're going against your inherent trust in market efficiency when you try to take advantage of the short-term results. So you're probably likely to be experiencing some cognitive dissonance. What's cognitive dissonance? Cognitive dissonance means that you believe one thing, but you're acting in another way. And because we're all humans, we all experience that. I have a certain value, but I'm acting contrary to my value. That feeling is a good feeling because it tells us I need to change. Have you ever had a situation in your life where you had shame or guilt or pain? And we like to think that those are the bad feelings. Oh, I want to stay away from those. Those feelings tell us something. Those feelings tell us I have got to change. You could be over here. You believe that markets work and that you use asset class investing. Well, hey, confidence and peace of mind. When you think markets reflect all knowable and predictable information at current prices, then the best approach is to diversify asset allocation and invest for a lifetime. There's no need to be concerned with short-term gimmicks. You can disregard media hype, stock market updates, knowing that with a buy and hold strategy, you're good. Okay? Go ahead and put a check mark if you're here. Now you could be here. You could believe, Mark, you're just full of it, markets fail, and that I want to keep doing speculating and gambling. That's all right. At least you're being cognitively consistent with what you believe. If you presume that inefficiency exists in the markets and you are practically compelled to apply speculative techniques to discover them, this means you find a way to stay plugged into market analysis, learn about how to take advantage of all that stuff. What's the payoff? The payoff is a sense of power, control, and ego. It feels good to be in control. It feels good to play God. That's all right. You know who does this a lot? Executives that used to manage like hundreds of people and had a big department. They retire. They have nothing to do. You know, and if they day trade and get off, ooh, look, I'm in control of $2 million. I'm gambling. You know, I don't need to beat the market for my ego. I need to help people feel good about what I'm doing. But if that's what people are into, more power to them. If you're here, just go ahead and put a check mark here. Markets fail in asset class, but you believe that markets fail, but you're using asset class investing. How could that happen? Well, sometimes what happens is there might be a false conversion, meaning that you got here to Cincinnati and you go, wow, this market efficiency shit, that's great. And Mark's marketing stuff is the bomb. I love this. I went in on the floor, man. Let's go. I'm going to do it. And then you get all into it, and then you prudently diversify your portfolios. But like the 8 guys, 3 guys 8, 10 years ago, when the diversification is like this and U.S. stocks are like that, what you really believed was that you could time the market. And then the result when that happens is this: despair and resentment. If you believe that it is possible to identify mispricing in advance, then utilizing diversification and asset class investing is inappropriate. Believing that markets fail to set prices accurately follows you would want to stay connected to all the short-term fluctuations, all the analysis, all the inefficiencies, and continue that tact. Okay? Make sense? Okay. So, everybody got a check mark about where you are right now? Okay. Now I want you to make 2 circles. One is here, make a circle here, and a circle here. Because these are the only 2 boxes that you want to be in. Because you want to align your philosophy with your implementation strategy. So if you're here and you have a check mark here, draw an arrow to here. Draw an arrow to there. If you're here, draw an arrow to there. And one of the reasons that I offer, the money back guarantee, you come for the first 3 days, $1,500 back, and I'll pay for your airfare, I'll pay for your hotel, and all that stuff, is I don't know in advance where you are. If you are here, I should probably, after the break, give you your check for your $1,500 and give you your money back and get you home. Because the rest of the next day and a half is going to be useless to you. If you're here, you're in the right place. If you're here and you want to come here, you're right. You're in the right place. And the next day and a half will be great for you. If you're still confused and conflicted and you still don't know, you're welcome to stay a day and a half and try to struggle it out. I had a guy call. The guy came in on Friday morning. I've been up all night. I'm like, what's going on, dog? He goes, my wife works at the broker-dealer I'm at. I said, that's got to be really uncomfortable. He said, yeah, it is very uncomfortable. He said, I've been up. He said, I called my wife at 2 in the morning. I said, yeah, what'd you say? He said, I'm going to go to the airport and come home. And she said, you baby, what's wrong with you? You paid your money. Stay in the class, see what happens. He said, yeah, but they're talking about market being efficient and all this stuff we're doing wrong. She said, geez, what's wrong with you? He said, well, you might have to leave your job if I do this. He said, well, she said, so? What's best for your clients? What is best for your clients? What are you, a little baby? You can't sit and listen to information? Good Lord. Go back.
He thought he had power and control.
So he thought he had power and control. She had it. So he came back in. And by lunch, he called his wife and said, that's it. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Out of the class, he said, no, I'm out of my broker-dealer. It's over. We decided we're leaving. And she quit her job, went to work with him instead of being at the home headquarters. And they have a very, very successful money under management business, and they're just crushing it. But he had his moment of truth. What he really believed in. And that's really the only reason to do this. Okay, so if you're over here, you eliminate speculative techniques, you work with the financial. So this is an exercise we do with our clients. Can you see how powerful this can be to do this with your clients? And have them choose a worldview? And get it in their heads that this is all crap and I'm not going to do this anymore? This is extremely powerful stuff to do with an investor. You eliminate speculation, you work with a financial professional, you ignore media hype. Unless I'm in the media, then you should pay attention. Set long-term financial goals, focus on capturing returns, use asset class investing. If not, speculate. Work with a professional who speculates. Stay connected to the internet, magazines, talk shows, news shows. Read every article about stocks and options you can find. Wonder and worry about what might happen next. Whatever you do, don't miss the next hot stock tip. This is going to be your life. Okay, then we do the 20 must answer questions. So if we go back to page 4. If I believe that markets fail, and my clients believe that markets fail, what does that say about your ability? How many of you would agree that this is a problem for investors? Yes. If I allow my investors to believe that markets fail, or they believe that markets fail, what does that say about their ability to ever get out of the investor's dilemma? It'll never happen. Watch what's that? If you believe markets fail, what's the possibility that you'll get out of the problems that the investor's dilemma caused you? If you believe that markets work, what's that say about your ability to get out of the investor's dilemma? You're out. The minute that shift comes on, you're out forever, and you never go back. And that's a good place to be. Okay, questions about choosing?